Good afternoon. Welcome to Cool Springs. Today is Wednesday, November the 12th, 2025, and this is our series, God Conversations. So we've got two topics in one today because we're approaching the holiday season, and there's going to be a lot of holiday topics that we're going to want to cover each week. So today's we're talking about the turkey shoot and about a Christmas stocking. Pulled one of our decorations that we normally put up around the church here at Thanksgiving time with a turkey. Some people, particularly in this area where the city of Enterprise has probably 30 to 40,000 people in it, but when you get outside the city limits, there's a lot of country space. And people in this area, even if they live in the city, but they like to hunt and fish, there are a lot of places they can go to do hunting and do some fishing. And it reminded me of a TV show that I used to watch when I was a kid, The Waltons. Some of you are probably familiar with it, or you've seen it in reruns, because that series was set initially during the Depression era. And some of the episodes, particularly around the holiday time of year, would be focused on either the dad or the grandpa in the family having to teach their sons how to go out and hunt down and shoot the turkey for Thanksgiving dinner so that the family could have food on the table. And each year it'd be a different story, and as the kids were growing up, there'd be one story about one son, and then a few years later, a story about another son as the younger boys are starting to have to learn these sorts of things. And it reminded me of some of the things that I hear here in our church and just around the community as some of the people are starting to teach their kids how to do hunting and to go fishing. And a few people do the hunting for sport. You want to hang the deer head on the wall as a trophy rack. But for the most part, in both the TV show and in reality, the reason they're hunting that game is to provide food for the family. And of course, when you're teaching a young person to do this for the first time, even if they've grown up around farm animals and they know that their parents occasionally have to kill a chicken or slaughter a hog or go hunting for a turkey so that it can be prepared so that the family can eat. Part of them is tender-hearted, not wanting to take the life of an animal, and the other part is passing on from generation to generation the fact that no, we're not really enjoying this, but this is something we have to do to put food on the table for our family. And so when we're thinking about Thanksgiving coming up, you might be interested in teaching your children the story of the first Thanksgiving and explain to them over the years. Maybe you want to share stories from your own family's experience about times when you've had to go out and either raise animals that you intend for slaughter or purchase animals like chickens and go hunting for deer or going to a turkey shoot because it's necessary to provide the protein, the meat that your family needs. Sometimes if it's the first time you've been the one to either watch or do the hunting yourself or do the fishing, it's hard to eat that dinner, knowing that you're the one who took that life. But you can point to biblical passages where God is telling the people after they've sinned and after they've come off the ark, that because initially Adam and Eve were vegetarians. They were told that God's giving them all the green plants for food for yourself and for the animals. And then later on in Genesis, God tells them that it's all right for them to take animals and eat them for the protein that they need, that some animals are clean and good to eat, like our tom turkey here would be good to eat, but other animals are not healthy for you to consume, and therefore there were dietary laws that prohibited it. Because right now our our community in particular, we are largely dependent upon the military industry here. There is a huge Army base not too far from the church here. And even if you don't work directly for the Army, either as a civilian or as a soldier, a lot of the businesses around here are highly dependent upon the economic boom where soldiers and civilians are coming out and they're purchasing things in the local stores. So, like the movie theater. You're not going to go and spend money to go see a movie, even if it's a movie you like, if you haven't been paid in a month and you're having to figure out how to pay the car note or the rent and how to put groceries on the table. This past Monday, one of the local Christian radio stations had partnered up with several nonprofit charities, some of them religious, some of them secular charities, where the radio station was willing to give away T-shirts for turkeys, and they gave you the option of either bringing in a frozen turkey if you were able yourself to go to the grocery store and purchase a turkey or purchase some of the supplies needed, or you could bring what they called a paper turkey, where you could bring them money that would help pay for a turkey, and they were going to use the profits to distribute to all these helping agencies so that people could go and get the assistance they need right now. Because even if you don't live in a rural area, and even if it's not a time of depression, like it was when my parents were growing up, where somebody's ability to go out and hunt and fish to put food on the table was an essential skill. Right now, with the hardships that are going on, people need help. And sometimes they're a little bit embarrassed to ask for it. But that's one of the ways that you can teach your children that, okay, we're going to do this. Maybe this year, instead of buying quite as many Christmas presents for ourselves, we're going to set aside a little bit of money, or maybe you'll take your child with you and ask them to go shopping for a gift that you can put on an angel tree or contribute to a Toys for Tots drive, because you're teaching them the importance of caring about others in the community. When I participated on Monday in that turkey drive, I drove up and made my contribution, and because it was just bitterly cold and roaring wind, I didn't stay very long. But for the few minutes that I was there, sure enough, I saw some families bringing their school-age kids and showing them this is what we're doing as a family to show care and concern for our neighbors. Some people will be in need of being on the receiving end of those food blessings, and all the charities that are doing that are going to try to do it in a way that preserves people's dignity. And so it's just important to have these God conversations as you're going about life, whether you're teaching your child how to hunt or fish, and the importance of we're not doing this just for the sport of killing animals, that we're really doing it because this will be able to provide food that we can put in the freezer so that we can have meals throughout the year to help us economically. Or you're teaching them that, hey, we're participating in this charity drive because we have friends and neighbors who need help and we don't want to embarrass them. We just want to take care of the need. By the same token, the stockings, we used to give these out at the chapel, and I still have some. In fact, I just had a conversation before we started taping with our children's Sunday school teacher, who happens to be our pastor's wife, because the ladies are meeting right now in another room, and she happens to teach the elementary school age kids. And I told her, I've got several of these stockings that proclaim Jesus as the reason for the season, and I want to donate them to her class, and maybe the church can figure out what would be some appropriate stocking stuffers to teach the kids that are in the elementary school age class why it is that we're celebrating Christmas. Whether we put some sort of a toy or object in there, like the kids have already received the cubes that have the Christmas story and the Easter story in blocks of wood so that they can play with those and learn how to tell the Christmas story or the Easter story in order by the way they twist the cubes, or maybe candy canes or something else that would help them understand Jesus is the reason for the season. Or maybe it's a case of, because they'll get to keep these stockings that we're going to give them out, maybe they'll use it year after year after year, and as they're growing up and learning about Christmas, their parents can help them say, let's put something in here to donate to a holiday charity drive, to where maybe kids who need something at Christmas, you put your stocking up and we'll fill it up all during the month of November and December, and then near Christmas we'll carry it to the church or the charity organization and just dump it out and let them distribute the things for Christmas, or they can use it year round. Because a lot of churches participate in the Operation Christmas Child. Child could have this up and start putting in school supplies or other things that normally would go in an Operation Christmas Child box. Then when it comes the time of year to put the things in the box and send it to children around the world, just to show God's love and to let them know that the whole reason we celebrate this holiday of Christmas is because Jesus is the reason for the season. So look for ways to have these God conversations that you're passing on from generation to generation, the faith that you have, so that your children will understand why it is we live the way we live and why it's important for us to find a way to show God's love to somebody else. Thanks for watching.